7:36 here, Big 550 KTRS. We are in the February, Kelly Jackson. We're entering into real estate season, buying and selling and everything else. Apparently it's the busy season. Kathy Helbig here to tell us all about it. Good morning, Kathy Helbig.
Always real estate season. Sorry.
But even though you say that, and I know you mentioned, the wintertime's busy and after Halloween's busy, but springtime traditionally is the busiest time.
So we should be past, we usually have a little lull. We had a lull the last week or two in January. Weather plays in always in January. But yeah, February is when we start seeing people really start getting serious about putting their house on the market. They call us ahead of time to start getting their repairs ready.
Right.
And then some of them will jump the spring market, get on by the second week in February, and then a lot of them are planning to be on in March. So good time. We're starting to see the uptick in coming soon homes. I did the report yesterday, and we're about 15% more coming soon homes this week than we had last week.
Okay.
So we should see that, progressing.
How is your new program where people are doing the renovations before they put them on the market?
Great. So definitely call us ahead of time. That had a little stall in it because of Missouri's permitting. So we actually were trying to launch that at the end of the year, and we had to wait to the beginning of this year. So it's just getting ramped up. Definitely have people interested in that. That's anything from cleaning the house, as small as cleaning the house, you can do ahead of time without paying until closing, or as much as a major renovation.
Right, yeah.
But speaking of major renovations, one thing I wanted to talk about today is what do you do when you are buying a house and it does need some major repairs after you've gone under contract?
Okay.
How do you handle that with repair credits?
So you have the contract, you get the inspection, and they tell you, oh my goodness, the walls are falling down.
Correct. So we're dealing with one this week, which is why it's
Perfect
the topic
timing.
of the day. So basically, the mindset is, well, let's go back in and ask them to lower the price to make up for the $30,000 worth of things that came up. Because we're talking like big things like roofs, decks that need to be completely redone.
Garages falling down.
Garages,
or something.
something major. So the mindset is, well, I guess we can, ask them to, well, first let's ask for a $30,000 credit. Can't really get a credit because what people don't understand is when you're getting a loan, a repair credit cannot come across the contract and get through underwriting with $30,000 worth of things that are wrong with the house.
Got it.
And it's not going to red flag the underwriters.
The bank won't want to finance something that's got a $30,000 problem.
Exactly. It's like a deficit on the house already.
Right.
So you have to disclose those repair credits as closing cost credits or prepaids or points, something like that is allowable that a seller can pay. But there are maximums to those credits. So a conventional loan, you can only get up to 3% of the purchase price unless the buyer's putting down more than 10%, then they could get 6. FHA, you can get 6. VA, you can get 4. So you have to work within those confines of those maximum credits that you can disguise them as to be able to funnel that money back to the buyer. The reason why that's a better option versus lowering the price is not putting that money in your pocket as a buyer.
Right.
It's lowering your mortgage.
Right.
But you still got to come out of pocket $30,000 to make those repairs if that's what you're intending to do.
Right.
So the price adjustment is really not a good option for the buyer unless you're sitting on cash.
So the seller will say, "Oh, let's just drop the price by $30,000."
Exactly.
The buyer says that doesn't do me any good.
Exactly.
I don't have the $30,000.
Yeah. For the seller,
fix it.
that's the best option because you're going, I pay commission on $30,000 less too, which ends up only being a few $100s typically. But yes, for the seller, that's easy. But for the buyer, it doesn't translate most of the time.
Right.
So you will then do a credit. So what we ran into with ours this week is that there was like $50,000 worth of things. So what we ended up doing is working out a partial credit and a partial escrow. So with an escrow, we took some of the items that needed to be repaired. We got bids for those, and then you asked the seller to put that money into an escrow account for those repairs to be made after closing. So it's technically repaired by the seller. The buyer's not having to pay for it. And then the buyer can use whatever closing costs for the other credits that were allowable.
Right.
So it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more tricky than people think. With an escrow account, the seller has to typically put up 1.5 times the amount.
Yeah.
So there's a buffer. There has to be a legal escrow agreement put together that everyone agrees to and signs. So you can't just flippantly say we're going to do this and not move on to the next step.
Right.
And then when those repairs are done, that extra funds for the half, if it wasn't used for unforeseen repair circumstances that were part of the repair, then that's refunded back to the seller after
I think we did
repairs are
this
done.
when I bought that rental property. I think we had some things that need to be
We
taken
probably
care
did.
of.
Yeah.
And you guys
Sounds
sort
vaguely
of
familiar.
did this escrow account
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
so it's kind of semi-normal in some way.
Yeah, but a lot of people just, especially agents that have been just in the business for the last few years, there wasn't a lot of repairs that were being agreed to.
Right.
So people aren't really familiar with the escrow arrangement and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just something new that's popped
It's
up
really,
to some people.
but it's also
but
the
it's not
difference
new.
between an experienced agent,
Correct.
somebody you've been doing this a long time, you've seen this doesn't rattle you, as to somebody who's done it brand new,
Right.
who
We were
doesn't know
able
what's
to work
going
it
on.
out, and hopefully we've got the deal put together.
That's
We're
why
close.
it's the experience of Kathy Helbig.
That's right.
And the gang.
And the gang.
And the
Oh,
gang.
it's all about the gang.
The gang.
Kathy
Couldn't
and
do
the
it without
gang.
'em.
The gang, and no question. You cannot do it without. I
Nope.
can't do it
Nope.
without you.
Nope.
Kathy Helbig, 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD, or KathyHelbigGroup.com. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys.
742, Big 550 KTRS.